Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 10 Minute Reviews. This is Freya. I'm Jason.
And I'm Amy.
And we're bringing you today's episode. And today is going to be another one of those lists that we've been doing.
Yay!
And again, we can't say greatest or best because it's all subjective. We just want to say great so that you know that this is somebody that you need to read or a series that you need to read. Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons, please.
I was just about to say that.
And here we go. So we're going to talk about, and this time we're actually going to do 6. I got talked into doing a 6th.
Yay.
So we're going to do 6 great fantasy series. 6 series that you absolutely must read. The first one, the Icewind Dale trilogy. The Icewind Dale trilogy is part of the Forgotten Realms series, or Forgotten Realms world. But I'm not going to talk about the entire world. I don't want to, I of course recommend it. But it's so many authors and so many books, almost all trilogies. And really, the seminal work in it is Icewind Dale trilogy, or Legends, which is a prequel to the Icewind Dale trilogy. R.A. Salvatore, what he created with the Icewind Dale trilogy, he created characters that have entered the cultural zeitgeist, really. I mean, Drista Worden is one of the most well-known fantasy figures out there, at least for readers.
And I mean, it's crossed over into Magic the Gathering and
Dungeons and Dragons.
All sorts of things.
It's all over the place. And other fantasy authors are definitely affected by R.A. Salvatore's one of my favorite authors. One of his characters was based off of Drista Worden. So, Icewind Dale trilogy, if you haven't read it, you absolutely must read it. It's an older one, so while he's a huge author, I wanted to bring it up because since it's 30, 40 years old, a lot of the newer fantasy readers have probably not read it.
Just because of the fact that it's so old.
It's old. So you guys definitely need to read it.
Yep.
So number 2 of absolutely fantastic fantasy series that you must read, Damned and Cursed by Glenn Bullion.
Absolutely.
Glenn Bullion is one of the newer authors out there. I stumbled across him a few years back. What, you don't like Glenn Bullion? I stumbled across him a few years back, and his books are... The Damned and Cursed is definitely a series that all occurs within the same world, but the books, for the most part, are one-offs. They're self-contained stories. While the characters do kind of cross, especially as the series goes on, they start to cross more and more and more as they connect with each other. Each book is generally based around one particular person or creature, because the Damned and Cursed, it's urban fantasy, it's in modern times, but it has vampires, it has witches, it has werewolves, with a unique twist, a unique take on each one of those. Yes. A unique take on each one of those creatures. The vampire is definitely different. The witch is way different than a classic witch from classic fantasy.
More of a
it's
tactical
and
special forces.
More of an alchemist than anything else. But they're definitely magic based, and they're absolutely incredible. And then, of course, the best book in the entire series, Jack Cursed, or Cursed rather, is just a cursed character. So, and these books, the dialogue, the characters, the relationships between them, they're amazing. And Cursed is, while it's not the first book in the series, it actually would be a great entry point.
And he's the best character.
He's absolutely the best character.
100%.
So the next series that I have to recommend is The Iron Druid by Kevin Hearn, another newer author. But he went huge almost from the second he started writing these books. The Iron Druid books caught on from the get-go, and they caught on huge.
Like a house on fire.
And it's again, urban fantasy, modern times. The main character, you'll never guess, he's a druid.
No.
And now, what is the common weakness of fairies and fae? Iron. So the Iron Druid has actually figured out a way, and I'm not going to reveal too much of it, but a way to incorporate iron into what he does. And the series is awesome because of how he takes the druid in this urban fantasy setting and changes it slightly. It's not the classic, this character, Atticus, he's not a tree hugger. I mean, he is very much nature-based, but his abilities are different. Druids primarily, in this world, their primary ability is connections. That's what is connections and binding. So most of his magic, most of his go-to stuff, deals with connections and binding, including in combat. But it has to be with natural stuff. But just imagine, you're coming at this guy with say, a machine gun, and all of a sudden your leather watch band, because that's a natural material, all of a sudden it is basically molecularly bound to your knee. You know, the hand that's holding the gun or something like that. So, I mean, he can bind, and it's incredible. Plus, he can also bind minds, which leads to Oberon, his Irish wolfhound, who is mentally bound to Atticus, and they have conversations.
I love Irish wolfhounds.
And it's absolutely awesome. So the Iron Druid series, and what's really cool with this series, unlike a lot of the series, is that it actually he ended it not too long ago. So while there's a lot of books in it, it's not open ended. You're not going to be left wondering what's happening. It came to an end. I will admit that the last few books I did not like at all, but the characters grew. The character grew. Other characters were introduced. They also grew. Wasn't a fan of some of them, and I wasn't a fan of how they grew, but they grew and they changed, and it was all very, very plausible. So, fantastic series, and I'm looking forward to whatever Kevin Hearn writes next. So, for number 4, we're going to talk about, or she is going to talk about, the Anita Blake series.
Okay, so this, the Anita Blake series, is still an ongoing series. So far, I believe it's got 31, either 31 or 32 books in the series. Follows Anita Blake. She's a U.S. Marshal. Oh, she starts out as just a police officer, and then in the preternatural branch, which was kind of created as like a joke section of the police force where they put their problem children. And she's also she can also raise the dead. That's a side hustle for her. Lucrative.
Yeah.
So.
Actually, no, repeat business.
Yeah.
They keep dying.
Well, mainly it's to settle estates and wills and all that crap. But follows her through, her life and her connections with the master vampire of the city and the alpha werewolf of the territory and all that shit. And the other series I want to talk about is Meredith Gentry. She's her other main series, Laurel K. Hamilton series, follows around a U.S. fairy princess. Although most of the fairies have been exiled to the United States, strangely in Iowa.
So what's unique about this, or not unique, but what is cool about this series is that it kind of follows more along the lines of the True Blood kind of tropes, where these fantasy creatures have been outed. It's not the hidden world kind of series, which I believe Anita Blake is. Nope. Okay, so they're out there as well. So it's not the hidden world type of series of things that you see in like the Iron Druid,
Right.
Or Damn the Cursed.
Right.
Actually, they're out there. They're known. They're known to exist. So it'll have things that probably. I'm not a huge fan of Laura K. Hamilton, so she's read all the books. But I'm going to make a guess that it probably even touches on things like, say, racism from time to time, things like that. Because once they're outed, and probably supremacy, not necessarily human supremacy, but vampire supremacy, werewolf supremacy, human supremacy.
Right. It's a constant vie for power, and scrambling to get as much power out of the city as possible. Who's stronger, the werewolves or the vampires or the humans, and it's just a constant battle for power.
Well, after a good rainstorm, the werewolves probably have the strongest smell. Unless they're puppies, because puppies are just, this puppy smell. Wet puppy smell is great. Wet dog smell is not.
No. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
Puppies are just amazing.
yeah, but puppies that eat carrots, that smells not so good. So, so you definitely have to check out both of Laura K. Hamilton's main series, Anita Blake and Mary Gentry. The final one, number 6, Chronicles of Elantra by Michelle Segarra. Awesome. This is an ongoing series. The world building is incredible. We would shoot a 40-minute video for me to try and describe the world and all the races that she created and how this kingdom works and the individual.
And the races are so.
They're unique. They're absolutely unique. You've got your mortals,
Leontines,
your dragons, your squid mental people. That also touches on racism. They're kind of illithids.
Yeah. Mind flayers.
That also touches on racism and stuff like that as well. The book series itself, the core character it follows is Kaylin Nea, who's a human private in their law enforcement.
The mascot.
Pretty much started out as a mascot. Pretty much outpowered by just about everything out there. Her partner, very dangerous, used to be part of basically the assassin side of the law enforcement, or the hunters, really. You almost call them the warrant squad in a way.
Tila.
And then, but she's got friends that she works, and other ones that she works with that are part of Immortal Badass Warriors, and you know, the Leontines. Even goes so far as to say, by the middle of the series, she even has some friendly relations with dragons. Eventually, she does actually have a dragon friend. Friendly relations with uber powerful magical criminals. I mean, it's just, and the world contain every book. The world expands. Mm-hmm. Kaylin is covered with these symbols. They're not tattoos. They're symbols that make her the chosen one. Even after all these books, I have no idea the chosen one of what, because they never actually touch on that, although she ends up being the key to so many things to saving the world and all that, despite almost dying a few times, and despite almost destroying the world herself a few times. But this, again, we would go on forever trying to describe the world that Michelle Segarra has built in the Chronicles of Elantra. It is one of the best series that we've ever read, so you must read The Chronicles of Elantra by Michelle Segarra if you are a fantasy fan.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, again, please hit the like and subscribe buttons.
Down below.
And we appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you for watching us indulge in our greatest passion, which is books. And we will catch you guys next time.
Bye now.
Bye.